Hey guys, it is Laura and I'm back with a new video. So today I want to talk to you guys about a topic which I haven't found much information on. If your school is from outside the European Union, how can you apply to Spanish university? How can you enter? How can you study in it? And that's what I'm going to try to answer for you. Alright, so before I start this video, I need to know two things. The first thing is that there are two types of university here in Spain. The first one are the private universities like the University of Navarra, and there are also public universities like the Autonomous University of Madrid or the Pompeu Fabra University. And the second one is that there are regions in Spain where we do not only speak Spanish, there are also other official languages. Like in Galicia, we speak Gallego, in the Basque country we speak Basque, and in Catalonia we speak Catalan. If you decide to study in university in those regions, you will need to study in that language, so if you don't know it, then it's going to be impossible for you. Alright, so first to begin with differentiating private and public universities. About money, there is a big difference. Like, for example, the first year in a private university can cost you around 15,000 euros, just the first year. And then a public university, it can cost you around 1,000 to 1,300 euros, depending on the degree and everything. So I'm gonna go briefly over how to apply to a private university, and then I'm gonna go a little more in depth into how to apply to a public university. So what private university will ask you for is a letter of recommendation. Basically, your school that you were in year 12 will have to write a letter of recommendation that you will have to send to the university. Then you might also have to take a set of exams like an entry test or an admission test. I don't know exactly how that one goes because I think it depends on the university, since the university itself made it. You might or might not have to take a set of those exams. And then you will also have to go through an interview. Most likely. I don't know exactly what they might ask you because I haven't gone through it. That is basically what they ask for in private universities. It's kind of an easy process. Most of them won't ask for your marks. Like, they might ask to see your marks, but they won't require you to have a certain mark that you need. Not like public universities will, which we will see in a second. That's basically what private universities ask for. Alright, so moving on to public universities. There are two ways you can enter a public university. One is as a foreign student, and the other one is as if you were a Spanish student. For both ways, you're gonna need to validate your studies. This means that you're gonna have to have a certificate which says that you have studied year 11 and year 12 in a certain school, and also an official document with your marks from those 2 years. You also need your marks and the certificate which says you have studied year 10 as well, not only year 11 and 12 but also year 10. I forgot to say it in the video, but anyways, I will leave you in the description box below the link to the Spanish website which says all the requirements. Take these two things to the Ministry of Education of the country you're in. They will have to stamp it. Then you take it to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They will also have to stamp it. Then you take it somewhere to make a legal translation to Spanish, because these all need to be in Spanish. Then you take it to the Spanish embassy in the country that you're in, whatever it is, and they will also probably need to stamp it. And then you send this stamped and translated document to the Spanish Ministry of Education, because they're the ones who, in the end, are going to validate your studies. Once you send these to the Spanish Ministry of Education, they're going to send you a leaflet or something by email which says that you have requested the validation of your studies. With this request, you can already start your process to apply to the universities. So let's start with the foreign method, with the foreign way. You will need all of this that I just said, like the validation of your studies, or at least the request of the validation. In around March or April of the year that you will start your studies, you will need to apply. It's usually in March, so like early March, so be careful with that, because you might think, oh, it's probably in May or June, but no, it's in March. Like, say I want to start my studies for year 2021 to 2022, then in February or March of 2021, I will have to apply for the university. So be really careful, because if you forget that date and you don't apply, then it's going to be almost impossible for you to enter to that university. So yeah, around March, when the university has the due date, you will have to send the request of the validation, or the validation if you already have it, along with a copy of your marks, so they can see more or less the marks that you got. And you will have to fill in the request, you have to apply whatever they ask you, your personal details and everything, and you send them, and you have already applied. If you do that, you are on the first list, which means you will have to compete with the people who have done the same thing as you based on your mark from year 11 and 12. Your marks, they get an average, from these 2 years they get an average, and it is out of 10. So basically 10 being the highest and 0 being the lowest. The closer you are to 10, the more opportunities you have to enter, because you will be placed higher or lower on that first list. There are very little places for foreign students in the universities. There are, in some degrees, like medicine, there are 0. You cannot enter if you're foreign, whatever. You have to take the Spanish method. But there are other degrees which have like 3 or 5. There is still some opportunity, but it is very little. So you really have to try to get the best mark you can in year 11 and 12 so you can be high on that first list and you can enter. If you're still studying year 12 when you have to apply, it means that you have not finished year 12, you do not have your marks from year 12, and so you cannot have requested the validation from those years. So obviously, how can you do this? Well, some universities have an opportunity for those students. So if you're still studying year 12, when you're applying in March, you have to select like a part which says, I'm still studying year 12 and I haven't requested the validation of my marks yet. But then, what will you have to do? You will have to send them your marks along with your personal details, and you will have to tick that box which says that you're still studying year 12 and you have not requested the validation. Then, as soon as you finish your year 12, you will have to quickly try to request the validation before July or so. And once you have requested it, you have to send it to the university. What happens with these students is that you're not placed in the first list like the others, you're placed in the second list. What does this mean? This means that even if your mark is a 10 out of 10 when you finish, it means that if there is a student which did have the validation or the request of the validation in March, then they will be before you in the list, no matter what the mark are. So yeah, you're already on the second list, and say there are 5 places, like 5 possibilities for you to enter. And on the first list, there's only 3 people, then you still have an opportunity to enter, because if you have one of the best marks of the second list, then you can enter. But if there are 7 people in the first list and there are only 5 opportunities to enter, then you are obviously not gonna enter if you're in the second list, unless somebody from the first list drops out and then you can enter. I hope I explained myself properly. This is very hard to understand because it is just a very hard process. Even for me to understand, it's hard. So imagine for me to explain it, it's gonna be even harder. So basically, the only way to get in the first list is if you are not studying year 12 when you apply. Like for example, say you finished year 12, then you took a gap year and then you apply in March. That way you can get on the first list. But otherwise, if you're still in year 12, you cannot get on the first list no matter what. But there's still an opportunity for you to enter even if you're on the second list. Alright, so all you have to care about is request the validation as soon as you can and get the best marks possible from your year 11 and your year 12. And yeah, once you have requested the validation and you have applied, then there's nothing else you can do but wait. Now moving on to public universities from the Spanish student method. They're gonna treat you as though you were a Spanish student. How? Well, you have to do the same thing. You have to request the validation of your studies and then you get it. Then you will also need to sit a set of exams, which I need to sit, like Spanish student needs to sit. This is IBAU exam or PCE exam. I don't know about the PCE because some universities request this one, but I haven't taken it and I'm not gonna take it. I don't know what this exam is. I never heard of it before. So yeah, you just have to look into it because I don't know about it, I'm sorry. But if your university requests for you to take the IBAU exam, then you're gonna need to sit around 4 to 6 or 7 exams. Some of them are compulsory, like History of Spain, Spanish language and literature, or English, and then some are optional, like maths, technical drawing, physics, biology, I don't know. Depending on what degree you want to get into, you will need to sit some exams or others. Like for example, for medicine, you might sit for biology, physics, or chemistry, but maybe for psychology, you will need to sit for economics, I don't know, maths, geography. You will need to look into that because that depends on each degree specifically. But yeah, you will need to sit those exams, and those are very hard for a student outside the EU because imagine I have been studying as a Spanish student for those exams for around a year or even a little bit more. So imagine studying for that by yourself. Alright, so basically to sum it all up, pros and cons of each method. Private university pros. It is that you're almost sure that you're gonna enter, like it's almost guaranteed because they don't care about your marks from year 11 and 12. And then a con is its price. It's way more expensive than public universities. Now, public universities, foreign method pros. It is that they only care about your year 11 and 12 marks. So as long as you do really good in those years, then your marks can be really high and you have a lot more opportunities to enter. The cons, however, are that you have to go through a long process to get the request of your validation of your studies. And then also, there are not many opportunities for foreigners to enter. And then if we go to public universities but Spanish student method, the pros are that there are a lot more opportunities, like maybe 100, 200, or maybe even 300 opportunities for you to enter to that degree. But the cons are that you will still have to go through that validation process. You will have to see the EVAL or the PCE exams, which are very hard, especially if you haven't studied in Spanish. And then the mark, like the minimum mark which you need to enter the degrees, might be higher than that asked for foreign students. Like for foreigner students, for example, for psychology, they might ask for a 6.5 mark out of 10. And if you have a 5.5, then no matter what your situation is, you cannot enter that degree. But if you have above that mark, then you can enter. But if you try to enter as a Spanish student, then the mark goes higher. So maybe if for foreigners it was a 6.5, then for Spanish students might be a 7.5. I don't know, it's higher. So, and yeah, overall, that's what I would tell you. I really would recommend to study in Spanish universities. I feel like Spain is such a good country to study in, especially for uni, because we have some cities which are very good for university students. They don't have amazing food and amazing climate, especially in the south and the Canary Islands where I'm in. And yeah, I don't know, I would definitely recommend you to come here. We have great universities and they're highly rated. You can look into it. It's not that hard. It seems hard, but nothing is impossible. Apply to a Spanish university and just have a good experience here in a different country. I hope you guys liked this video and I hope I helped you, because when I was looking for this info, it was really hard for me. I could almost find nothing. And yeah, so give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe to see more of my videos, and bye bye, I'll see you soon.